Actually, I turn on the sink in my kitchen and I have water. That means that the water initially is one big river, and then it gets distributed to all the different homes. The same thing is here. On Rosh Hashanah, this is Hashem's chesed. So it's a big chesed. Then from here it evolves and comes down in different directions. It comes down, this is very needed for Shlomo. Let's go on with it. Oh, let's go to the garbage. So this and this and this is health. This could be children. This could be a job. This could be a car. All the things we would eat in life. Hundreds of these things evolve in different ways. The Machzor saw they don't have enough chesed for all the different things in their life, especially for these two big blessings, wealth and children. So Hashem said, Hashem already designated that you're going to get your chesed in wealth, not in children. What I could do through my prayer, I could change it that it should go to children, but then you'll have less for wealth. And therefore they agreed, and that's why they got a bracha for children, which when Hashem, what Hashem did, he took this, let's say there's one for wealth, to be rich. Took this bracha, and instead made that chesed go more here, and they had children. Follow? Now, when you ask for a bracha for the new year, which specific thing do you want? One thing, two things, three things?
Everything.
Everything, that's right. So we want Hashem to give the bracha on everything. And therefore, this is the difference between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah, Hashem writes everything down in a general way. And then on Yom Kippur, it sort of gets sealed, which means it becomes now directed to a specific area of my life. Food, clothing, children, all these specific brachas. And it gets locked in. And now the bracha is going to go for A, B, C, D, all the different things you want in life. And it's interesting, on Rosh Hashanah, on Yom Kippur, where was the main avodah in the Beis HaMikdash? Where was the highlight of the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash? The Kohen Gadol in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. There was a prayer, he used to give that prayer. And the Rebbe every year would give a similar bracha. If you have the book in front of you, I'll show you where it is, and you'll see an interesting thing. Let's turn to page, if I can find it. I probably could.
We pray all
Page 186. No, there's two more books. All have the same 186. Yeah, it's the same 186. No problem. Start from the last page. You don't have to say everything, of course. I'm going to try to go through a little bit, which are the most important things to say. You have it? 186? So turn back one page. It says, may it be the will of Hashem and our fathers. No, see where it says Ashrei, happy, page 185 on the bottom. Turn back one page, 185 on the bottom. Ashrei ha'am, happy are the people whose lot. And it says, they heard the prayer of the Kohen Gadol in the sanctuary. Hashem is also here. What was the prayer of the Kohen Gadol? He prayed for the whole nation. And he said like this, may it be your will, the will of Hashem, the God of our Father, that this coming year for us and for all your people, the house of Israel, wherever they are, should be a year of light, a year of blessing, a year of rejoicing, a year of glory, a year of assembly, a year of this, a year of that. In English, it's all very nice things. But look on the Hebrew, it's the order of the alphabets. Shnat Ora, Shnat Bracha, Shnat Gila, Shnat Ditza. Shnat Hoyd, Shnat Zvato, Shnat Zimra, every letter of the alphabet. In other words, the Kohen Gadol was drawing down the bracha of Hashem for the new year. Should be sealed means it should be directed in a specific direction. In which direction? In everything. The whole alphabet, all the brachas are included in the letters of the alphabet. So this includes health and wealth and children and happiness and physical health and emotional health and money and clothing and shidduchim and everything that we need are included in all these brachas. But that's why it's called chatima, sealed. That doesn't just mean Hashem makes the final decisions. It means now it's directed to more specifics. On Rosh Hashanah, it's more general. You're going to get 300 pounds of chesed. And now on Yom Kippur, Hashem takes the 300 pounds of chesed and distributes it to different directions. And once it's distributed, it goes for that. And only a tzaddik, like the Baal Shem Tov, could change things and say, okay, we'll get less of this, but we'll get more of that. Because initially, it's already set up on Yom Kippur, how much I get of each thing. Okay, so I think that Mrs. Pearlstein did last week. She did with you Kol Nidre, the beginning, right? No? She did. She spoke about it? Yeah. Kol Nidre is the prayer that many Jews, even those that don't go anywhere all year round, but for Kol Nidre, they'll go to shul on the night of Yom Kippur. And that's how we start the prayers on Yom Kippur with Kol Nidre. That's on page 23. There's a lot of questions about Kol Nidre. You know what it says in Kol Nidre? All the vows that I made should be canceled. Why is it such an awesome prayer? All the vows that I made, why is that so awesome? Why is that called Yom Kippur? Anyone ever hear an answer to that question? It is the most awesome prayer. Like people talk about Kol Nidre, who doesn't go to shul to Kol Nidre? You read it, you'll see it's all about oaths and vows and promises. It's on page 23, I'm sorry. Page 23. Go back to the beginning. At Chala. 23. 23. So one of the explanations that I heard, maybe there's more, is that this is connected to a very tragic era in Jewish history when Jews lived in Spain. When Jews lived in Spain, there was something called the Inquisition. The priests were under the influence of the Pope and the King of Spain and his wife, her name was Isabella, and they say she was worse than him. They're the ones that eventually had all the Jews expelled from Spain. That was in 1492, famous year that close to 500,000 Jews left the country. And there are a lot of Jews that stayed behind. Who were these Jews that stayed behind? They officially were told, either you accept Christianity or you leave the country and you leave all your money behind. So a lot of them were very wealthy. A lot of them were Jews because the Jews really enjoyed prosperity in Spain for a very long time. A lot of them had high positions in government and they were had honorable positions. So outwardly, they pretended that they converted to Christianity, but in reality, they led a Jewish life. They were wealthy, so they built a basement, a sub-basement. Over there, they kept Shabbos, they kept kosher. On the outside, they looked like Christians. Unfortunately, they had a neighbor that found out. They would inform the government, and they would basically burn them alive. They would torture them to death. And even these Jews, who were pretending that they're Christians, but when they found them and they came to giving up their religion, they died al Kiddush Hashem. They gave up their lives, unfortunately. But a lot of these Jews lived a secret life as a Jew, and outwardly, when they were called in by the government and they promised, they said, they swear, they promise, they vow that they'll never go back to Judaism again, that they're good Christians. But then it really wasn't what they meant. It was just to save their lives. So on Yom Kippur, they would come to Shul or wherever they daven secretly, and they would say, we're asking Hashem that all the vows that we made and all the oaths that we made and everything we promised is null and void and worthless and means nothing. We just did it to save our lives. And that's why it's an awesome prayer. These are people that sacrifice their lives for Hashem. And therefore, it reminded that it was their ultimate tshuva. Unfortunately, a lot of them were caught. And they were called Marranos, which is a very degrading name, apparently in Spanish. And they were put down and made fun of and humiliated and ridiculed and tortured. And unfortunately, this went on for a very long time. Until 1492, where whoever was left was expelled. So this is called Nidre. After that, the davening is again a very special, different Shemona Esrei, like on Yom Kippur, like on Rosh Hashanah. Now the only thing that's different on Yom Kippur in the Shemona Esrei, and we say this about 10 times, is Al Chet. You know what Al Chet is? Al Chet is just like a Shamnu, with much more details. So let's look at page 38. I just want to point out the same thing again, like a Shamnu. You say Al Chet Shechatanu. When you say Shechatanu, you beat your chest again, like we do with a Shamnu. And you say all these things. Al Chet Shechatanu ba'onis u'baratzon. Al Chet Shechatanu b'imutz alev. So you have the English translation, but the reason why these are chosen, and look again, you'll see is the Aleph Beis. The first two are Aleph, the second two are Beis, the next two are Gimel, the next two are Dalet. You see that? Look again. Put on your glasses. Ones u'baratzon, Aleph, Ones and Imuts, Onet and Imuts. Bibli das, Bibitis Messiah. Gili Arroyes, Goli Vasosa. Das Bamima, Dibur Peh. Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ches. Which means again the same thing. We're not really spelling out every single sin that we committed. We're saying it, the words that were put here in the Aleph Beis. And when I say the first one with an Aleph, it includes anything that I could have done that's spelled with an Aleph. It's as if I verbalized it. And on Yom Kippur, we do this in Shemona Esrei, in Shachris, in Musaf, in Mincha, and also at night by Ma'ariv. They tell a story that there was once a Rebbe that he was looking for somebody that they should be leading the davening on Yom Kippur. So he asked somebody, so when you daven, how do you daven when you say Al Chet and all this? So he says, I sing it all the way through. I said, you sing it? Why do you sing? I said, well, imagine if you're working for a king and you're cleaning up everything and making it all clean. You're very excited that you're making it clean for the king. I'm cleaning up my neshama. I'm cleaning everything up. Again, Rabbi always emphasizes, tshuva has to be the simcha. So this is at night. And then there are different prayers, which a lot of them we sing them all together. The whole shul sings them together on page 42. They're beautiful, beautiful melodies. And then another one on page 45. There's another one on page 46. Another one on page 47. Many people say that the most beautiful time of the year in terms of the prayers is the night of Yom Kippur because of the beautiful songs that are sung. Some of the things are familiar because we do it also on Rosh Hashanah. I'm not going to point those out, Shema Koleinu and so on. Okay. At the end of the prayer, we say Avinu Malkeinu, like on Rosh Hashanah, Avinu Malkeinu. That's on page 58. And then in Chabad, there's a custom, but you don't have to do it. 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 And that is that after we finish all this, we say the whole Tillim. Yeah, the Rebbe would actually remain in his place in davening after the whole davening was over until the Tillim was over, the whole Tillim, from beginning to end. Yeah. What? No, only after Ma'ariv.
Okay.
I want to say something that is another part to Yom Kippur which people forget to pay attention to, and that makes it a very happy, exciting day. First of all, it's a day of atonement. You know what that means? It means that this day Hashem says, I forgive you. Again, instead of getting caught up and stuck on whatever I did wrong, we should get stuck on the fact that Hashem says, Salachti, I forgive you. The Abish is saying, forget about what happened, I forgive you, we're going to reconcile, forgetting everything, and that's number one. Number two, this is the day that Hashem gave us the Torah the second time.
Really?
Yeah, on Yom Kippur. Second time. The first time the Jewish people worshiped the Egel Hazar, the golden calf. So Moshe broke the luchot, he got broken. Then he davened to Hashem for slicha, and Hashem did not forgive them. And he davened and he davened, and then on Yom Kippur, Hashem salachti kidbarecha, and he gave the Torah a second time.
But it's not in Shavuot.
Shavuot is the first time that we got it. What?
It's not 40 days.
No, after Shavuot, first on Shavuot, we heard Anochi Hashem Elokecha and everything else. Then Moshe went up to Shemayim for 40 days, and he came down with the luchot. And when he saw they were worshiping the Egel Hazar, he broke the luchot. He went up for 40 days to pray. Hashem did not forgive the Jewish people. He went up for 40 days a third time. There were 3 sets of 40 days, 120 days altogether. And the third time he came down on Yom Kippur.
So 3 times?
Yes. 3 times 40. And the third time Hashem said, Salachti, I forgive you. And this explains, I don't know if you know this, you know, one of the things that happened in the Beis Hamikdash on Yom Kippur, what was one of the big things, interesting things that happened for boys and girls? That's the day they made Shidduchim, on Yom Kippur. The girls would go out and dance, and the men would choose a collar. There were 2 times a year that they did this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a different style in those days. What? Tuba, yeah.
When they have, because they were happy.
Oh, so what's the connection to Yom Kippur? The connection to Yom Kippur is because it says that the day that we receive the Torah is like the wedding day between Hashem and Bnei Yisrael. Hashem is the Chatan. We are the Kala. So when was the wedding? The day we received the Torah, that was the wedding. So Yom Kippur is also a happy day because it's the wedding day and it's the day that Hashem chose us as his nation. Now we will explain, we're going to have another class later about Yom Kippur, some Historia, Sukkot, that, you know, we know soon we're going to go talk about Sukkot, that after Sukkot is a very happy Yom Tov. Dancing and singing and dancing and singing. One of the reasons for that is because we received the Torah. And just like when there's a wedding, after the wedding there are 7 days called Sheva Brachot, where there's dancing and singing. We're celebrating the receiving of the Torah. But Rotem was going to ask me a question soon. But why don't we dance and sing for 7 days after Shavuot? We also got the Torah then. You want to know the answer to that question? You have to show up to the class at 2 o'clock.
What? Have to show up?
The next class at 2 o'clock.
Oh.
Yom Tov Chassidut. Okay. To be continued. So what's today? Today is Monday. What's today?